Okay, so I get a lot of questions about how I do a lot of the things that I learned at school, so I decided to do a couple of videos talking about my process or how these programs work to kind of show other people some stuff. Um, for this one, I'm going to be working on an organic character model, so I do this a little bit differently than I do with hard surface stuff. Um, So I will be showing you kind of my process for that. Everybody works a little bit differently, and sometimes I'm still figuring out how I like to do things as I go. Um, so I typically like to start out in this program called Modo. This is where I do pretty much 99% of my hard surface, if not 100%. But it's a fun place to start out with organic, and I usually come back to it pretty frequently. So what I will typically do is I'll try to find something I can use as an ortho. Here I have a character sheet that I did. It's just an image. I use it to kind of model from the side. And I'm going to start out with a box. I know that seems pretty weird, but it's something I learned in school, and it has worked out pretty well for me so far. So I turn that box, I subdivide it and turn it into a circle. And I'll kind of move that up and stick it in somewhere around where I think, oops, the chest area is. I'm actually going to switch to model quad just because that's a little bit easier. I want to keep that centered. And it seems, where's my backdrop? Oh, right, it's only on the side. Okay, so I only really have to worry about these two views, but that's fine. I actually did this earlier. I'm just kind of rehashing it to show everyone else how I do this. So I'll kind of line that up there. If I have a bunch of orthos, I may line it up in multiple directions so that you can see it in the right view, the front view, and the top view. But this is the only picture I've got to work with. So I'm going to duplicate that and bring it out down here, resize it a little bit. And for some reason my key is being weird today, so we're gonna... Wow. Alrighty. Oh, snapping is on. God, I hate snapping. It likes to turn itself on a lot and makes things really confusing because nothing does what you want it to do. Okay, so I may line stuff up like this. This is a little bit sloppier than I usually do, but I'm trying to move fairly quickly since I've already got this done. I'll come through and grab these guys, delete those. And basically this is just me trying to get the rough shape so that I can then take this into another program that I like to use and make that a little bit more looking like the character like I want it to. So I've got this weird shape here, but you can kind of see it almost looks like what I'm trying to get. I can soften it up a little bit. Come in here, I would normally come in and move some of these edges around, try to get a slightly better shape. I also typically work with symmetry on. Of course now it's off, so I already broke it, but that's cool. I may do something like come in here and add some edges, or bevel out sides for legs and things. Pull that down. This is very, again, very fast and very not good. when I really focus on this, I can still do it fairly quickly. The one that I have already done actually took maybe 20 minutes at most, so one of those things I actually really picked up on at school and made a lot of sense to me. If symmetry was working, it would have pulled down the other leg as well on the other side. And then I would come in here and do the same thing. Pull down another leg. Oops. Something got weird there. Wow, isn't that fun? Anyway, you get the basic idea. I'm just aiming for the basic body shape so that it looks vaguely Griffinish and is usable. This is actually what I ended up with here. So just a quick, it's really rough. It's got some really basic legs, basic wing structure. I threw in the eyes, but I won't really be using those. They're kind of just placeholders, sort of beak, ear shapes, just really, really basic. And you can see I kind of lined it up to my ortho, so he does fit fairly well in there. Not super exact, because he's going to change in the sculpting process. So again, just kind of throw something really rough and dirty in there pretty quick. Like I said, I think that took me about 20 minutes. You just kind of want to aim for the basic structure. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this guy into a program called ZBrush, and I'm going to sculpt on him, kind of add some muscle tone, get some of the basic proportions a little bit more how I like them. Then I'm going to bring him back into this program and re-topo him. Now, the reason I do that is, as you'll see, ZBrush is a really cool sculpting program. It's the one where he'll look a lot like red clay. And the problem with that is when I bring him back in, he will be probably 2-3 million polygons, and you cannot work with that. That cannot be animated. It cannot really be deformed. This is a much more efficient geometry to work with because you could actually move things and not have to move every single teeny little polygon. So what I typically do is work in ZBrush, add the detail I want, bring it back in. I do something called retopo, which is taking polygons and you place them down in the flow that you want, and the program actually will stick them to the high poly mesh, the sculpt that you bring in. And that way you can get kind of the loops where you want them, which will make it easier to deform in the future and animate. And then when I'm done with that, I will actually take it back into ZBrush and add a lot of the details that I want, the texture details. Then I can bake out maps from that program so that I can put those texture details on a lower poly mesh. So you guys will get to see some of that process. Everything will go by pretty quick, but there will be a video of me sculpting and a video of me starting the retopo following this, so you guys can kind of see what that looks like. And then hopefully I can finish up the retopo, go back into ZBrush for a little bit, and then be ready for texturing and stuff. So that's all I got for talking, but there will be a couple videos that you guys can watch coming up.